Now, I've always said this, that the original Gucci Guilty, composed by Jacques Cochlier, is one of the biggest compliment getters that you can get your hands on. It's a very popular designer fragrance. It has tons of flankers. Here in 2023, we have a brand new release. This is Gucci Guilty Elixir. The brand is hopping on the Elixir bandwagon. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this one. I'm going to let you know if I think this one also excels in the compliment department, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on the brand new Gucci Guilty Elixir, this is a brand new fragrance. I purchased my bottle from Nordstrom. I think it's a 60 milliliter bottle. Yes, it is. And it was quite expensive. The prices are going up there. I want to start the video off first by saying that if you like this type of content, why don't you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So, two perfumers worked on this fragrance, Natalie Graciaceto, and she's the perfumer who worked on fragrances like Le Male Superman by Jean Paul Gaultier. She's actually done quite a number of fragrances, and I'm going to leave her resume down below if you're interested in checking it out. And there's also Quentin Biche. He's done Delina by Parfums de Marly, all of the Delinas, to be honest with you. He's done fragrances for Carolina Herrera, Etat Libre d'Orange. I mean, he's an amazing perfumer. So here we have these two perfumers who worked on this particular fragrance, and the one thing that you might already know about the original Gucci Guilty is that it does have a touch of orange blossom in there. It's pretty heavy on the woods and the citrus, and it has that cologne-y vibe about it. Well, in this fragrance, it does kind of go in a floral direction, but I'm telling you right now, it does not smell feminine. There is orange blossom, there is orris, there's also osmanthus. So you have that combination of flowers, and you might be put in the mindset of, oh, is this going to smell feminine? But of course, there's also pimento, there's nutmeg, so you do get some spicy elements. And in the dry down, you have ambrofix, you have vanilla, patchouli, benzoin, so you do have some warm resin, some earthy ingredients, a touch of vanilla lending perhaps a tiny bit of sweetness. Nevertheless, I'm going to talk to you about the smell and the complement factor, or lack thereof. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation. So in the opening of this fragrance, what I got initially was what I thought was this sort of jasmine almond vibe. And I say that because from the initial spray, it kind of reminded me of Pegasus by Parfums de Marly. Now, if you guys are not aware of that fragrance, it is a jasmine, almond, vanilla type of a fragrance. It's actually quite expensive. Parfums de Marly is a niche brand, so their fragrances are a little bit on the pricey side of things. And Pegasus is a fragrance that gets talked about quite a bit, especially here on the online YouTube fragrance community. So this fragrance reminded me of that initially, and I thought to myself, wait a second, is there jasmine in here? And then I looked at the note breakdown and I realized it's not jasmine, it's actually orange blossom. And then I thought to myself, oh, okay, so they're trying to connect that bridge from the original to this newest flanker, which is the Elixir variation. And then I kept smelling into it and I said, there's something else in here, right? There's this bright, spicy element about it. And after looking online, I noticed that people are also making comparisons to Reflection for Men by Amouage. That is a really popular fragrance. Of course, it's been around for well over a decade. It receives so much hype, so much praise, and it also has a huge compliment factor. So here, I'm smelling what seems to be a sort of hybrid of those two really popular niche fragrances, some of the most popular niche fragrances on the market currently. So here, you basically have orange blossom. In terms of the orris, it's not really in there. Orris or iris smells waxy, and some people even compare it to the smell of lipstick. If you've ever tried Dior Homme, the original Dior Homme by Christian Dior, composed by Olivier Polge, you know what it smells like. It kind of has like that lipstick quality about it. You don't get that here, but you do get a spicy element, which is also present in Reflection for Men by Amouage. So I think the comparisons are totally justified, and I personally got that myself as well. But I do think it's more like 70% Pegasus, 30% Reflection for Men. Now, in the dry down, I don't get a whole lot of vanilla. I do get that benzoin. So benzoin is a type of resin, and it has a vanillic overtone, but it also has this medicinal quality about it. So I'm getting a little bit of that. I'm getting this resinous, sort of resonant as well, nature about it that comes across very smooth, very earthy. The patchouli contributes to that as well. And the amber fix lends that fresh quality to the fragrance. And the fresh quality, I think, works in harmony with the orange blossom, which also has citrusy elements. But in terms of that floral component, it's actually nice and clean. So here's what I think. This is going to be another huge compliment getter. I do believe that. Will it get you the same magnitude or the same type of compliments that the original Gucci Guilty will, or perhaps even Gucci Guilty Black? I don't know. I'm not sure. This fragrance seems to be a little bit more so on the niche side of things. It also seems to be a little bit more on the experimental side of things. I wouldn't use the word daring because nothing about this smell is daring. It's actually my scent of the day. I've worn it for a few days now. So I don't think it pushes the envelope at all. I do think that this fragrance, all things considered, is pretty safe, but I don't think it's what people would expect of a Gucci Guilty flanker. Now, here's the thing. I like that it didn't go in the other Elixir direction. What do I mean by that? Well, of course, we have Sauvage Elixir by Christian Dior, and that one actually got quite spicy to the point that people were comparing it to Drakkar Noir by Guy Laroche. So this one doesn't get overly spicy or overly mature or anything like that. So it still smells rather youthful, but it actually smells just experimental, clean, fresh, citrusy, musky. It's not challenging at all, but I love the direction that they went in with this one. I do think it's still pretty pricey for a designer fragrance, and I see all of these designer brands hiking up their prices as of late. But with that aside, if you wait 6 months or whatever, you might find it at a discounter, as you can with the original Gucci Guilty and several of the associated flankers. But nevertheless, I do think this is a solid fragrance. I think this possesses niche quality. I do think it has a compliment factor. I'm just not convinced that the compliment factor is going to be as high as the original Gucci Guilty, but there is that element of uniqueness, and you can guarantee that when you wear this one, you're not going to be picked out in an olfactory lineup. You know, if you're wearing Acqua di Gio, or if you're wearing Le Male, or if you're wearing L'Eau de Ses Pour Homme by Issey Miyake, people are going to smell it on you and they're going to be like, oh, I know that smell. Cool Water is another offender, but this one is novel, it's unique. It is a bit of a hybrid of two popular niche fragrances, but nevertheless, I think it smells wonderful. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, all things considered, I think it's a unique fragrance. It does possess elements that I picked up in other fragrances, specifically niche fragrances, but nevertheless, it's kind of a hybrid or a mashup of those two fragrances, and I enjoy the blend, to be honest with you. Longevity on this one was about 8 hours. Projection was really good for the first hour and 15 minutes of application. It radiated just a little bit beyond an arm's length. It became an elbow's length scent right around hour 6 or 7. It became a skin scent right around hour 9 or 10. It depends on how oily or dry your skin is, your pH levels, all of that stuff. But you can expect somewhere in the wheelhouse of 8 to 10 hours. In terms of the versatility, I think this one is a bit masculine leaning just because of the spices, the benzoin and the patchouli and the dry down, the amber fix kind of gives it that typical or expected masculine component. I think this one can be worn formally or casually. I think this one would work well for anybody of any age. And I think this one can work pretty well in every season except for the winter. I think the performance is there, so you can pull it off in the autumn. It is Elixir, so we can expect it to be a little bit stronger. But because of the citrusy and floral elements, I can see myself wearing this one in the spring and summer as well. And then in terms of the presentation, I think the presentation looks pretty cool. I wasn't expecting green. I think I was expecting something a little darker, something that is more aligned with the Elixir designation. And I kind of like the aesthetic of the taller bottles. I think this one just seems very small, very compressed, and it almost feels like you're paying a lot more, but you're getting a lot less, or at least that's the perception that I have as a consumer. My final verdict is, I think it's an awesome fragrance. Here you have niche quality produced by two amazing perfumers who have composed niche fragrances. Surprise, surprise. I think it's a really interesting release from the house of Gucci. Really knocked it out of the park. Price is a bit high, but I personally love it, and I'm wearing it today and it smells awesome, and I can't wait to wear it more so in the months to come because, like I said, it has the sustenance, it has the longevity. I think it's going to do well. In any case, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching my review of the brand new Gucci Guilty Elixir. Do you like the Gucci Guilty line? Do you have any favorites from the line? If you do, why don't you go ahead and drop your comment down below? I would really appreciate the interaction. I love hearing from you guys and girls. If you have tried this one, if you have a Nordstrom or any other department store that carries this fragrance near you and you've had the opportunity to try it in person, why don't you also leave a comment down below and give me your feedback on this. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell icon, and also give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. Thanks again for watching. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.